what's better at this point? Is it to blow all our money, especially if you're like someone who is not rich? Is it better to spend all our money on the real thing, or should we just be, maybe just getting the look for less? Hey guys, welcome to my channel. I'm Jess. Today I have a very special guest, Super Jacob here.
Hi everybody. Hello Jesse's subscribers, followers, and viewers. Whoop whoop.
Yes guys, so subscribe to Jacob. You can find him on YouTube. Of course, he has 3 channels and I'll link them below, as well as Instagram, which I'll also link below. And of course guys, subscribe to my channel. I love talking about handbags and fashion related topics. So today's topic we're going to be talking about is counterfeit bags. And well, it's interesting because lately I've noticing more so on Instagram really affluent people wearing replica bags, particularly like Birkins, Kellys, even replica Gucci, and these replicas are getting really good to the point where it's really hard to tell. And I'm finding that really rich people who can actually afford to buy real ones just can't be bothered anymore, and they're just going to the replica market. And if you want to see the first part of this topic, please go to Jacob's channel, because we have our first kind of thoughts about this topic on his channel, but we're going to continue the conversation today.
Yeah, we did a little of an experiment, you guys. So we're shooting this topic about whether or not we or you would consider ever buying counterfeit bags, fake bags, luxury bags, or products. And so we shot kind of our first thoughts over on my channel. So you get to kind of, jump on over between channels. And now we're continuing after the first part on Jesse's channel, the conversation.
That's it. So, Jacob, would you consider buying a fake bag?
Yeah, this is really complex because I'm also thinking, sometimes I've also heard people say, also people commenting on my channel, oh, by the way, we're filming this live. So we also have a live chat on the side. We can read your chats as well. So thank you for tuning in. And I've noticed some people also tell me, Jacob, you know what? Luxury bags have become so expensive, especially some brands like Hermes or Chanel or Louis Vuitton, even Dior, that people are like, well, before I make such a huge commitment, I want to know if the bag suits my lifestyle, if the size of the bag fits my needs every day. So quite a few people have written me that they prefer to, if possible in their city, rent a luxury bag for a week or a couple of days.
Yeah, that's a cool idea.
And if they don't have a renting place, they would buy the fake to see how it suits their lifestyle. And then if they really love the bag, then they would buy the original one. Like before they drop $10,000 on a Chanel double flap maxi, timeless classic, they would get the, and then figure out if it works for them. And if it does, then they're like, okay, you know what? I'm 100% sure now that I love this bag. Then they buy the real deal. So that is a really interesting thing to think about. That's not usually how I buy bags. I fall in love with the shape of a bag. And sometimes even if the bag is not fitting 100% my lifestyle, or even if it's not a bag I would wear every day, I kind of still buy it because I'm a sucker for lovely bags. But the idea that there's a lot that goes behind the production of these counterfeit goods, kids being involved, underage, that are not paid properly, where the material's sourced from, there's a lot of moral
dodgy stuff. You feel
stuff.
like it's kind of connected to some bad happenings or something. So I personally never considered buying a fake bag myself.
Neither have I. Never.
It's not something that's crossed my mind, because I've always strived to either buy something secondhand or save up and buy the real thing. Although that being said, there's a lot of counterfeit bags on the secondhand market as well, so it's becoming harder to navigate that. And I think if you're new to luxury, it can be quite scary to figure out how should I go ahead and buy a Chanel bag. Should we buy it secondhand because there's that risk of buying a super fake, or should we go into the store and spend $10,000? Is that better? What is better at this point?
I don't know.
It's hard to know.
It's really hard to know. I mean, also because some of these luxury brands are so arrogant in their attitude. I understand, for example, Chanel, just to name one. I understand that they just don't want to oversaturate the market. They want their bags to be coveted. They want to play that luxury game. They want to be considered a special thing. But the way that they've upped their prices in such an aggressive way during the pandemic, has made a lot of people lose respect of them as well. And let's not even mention the fact that the bags did go up in price, but the quality didn't.
Yeah.
So-
Well, a lot of people are saying that, you know, on Instagram, when you see these reels and, you know, there are a lot of replica sellers on Instagram and you see these bags and that some of them look better made than the real thing, which is because they're so accurate and the stitching is probably straighter and like the material is sometimes thicker or whatever. And that's kind of scary to think about. You could spend less and get a bag that may last longer. Yeah, but actually I did buy a fake bag once.
Yeah. And this is where we left off on the first part of the video. A little cliffhanger. I said, Jess, you bought a fake bag.
I did. It actually, it's a video, which isn't on my channel anymore because I ended up buying a Loewe bag. So a mini Loewe bag from a consignment store in Australia. And I took that video down because it ended up being a fake bag. And I was kind of embarrassed at the time because when I bought it, I didn't realize it was a super fake. And I'm finding that a lot of, you know, the real, you've got the, I don't know, Fashion File and a lot of consignment stores. Some of these counterfeit bags are slipping through the cracks, and that's scary, even if you are, like it's happened to me. Just recently, I bought the Loewe bag from the consignment store, and I got it checked out, and I compared it even to some ones from the store, and I noticed some very subtle differences, and I came to the conclusion that it was not an authentic piece, and then I managed to get my money back from the consignment store. But it's scary to think, like, you know, there are a lot of these bags on the market now, and I've noticed that particularly like Gucci is really, there's a lot of very accurate replicas, and I don't know, it comes to a point where you're thinking, like, where are these brands even producing their bags? Like, is Chanel producing it all in France, or are they outsourcing some of their manufacturing in other places as well? Like, there is a bit of a grey area, you know, and we're seeing in the boutiques now diminishing in maybe the quality and the design, and the service. So what's better at this point? Is it to blow all our money, especially if you're like someone who is not rich? Is it better to spend all our money on the real thing, or should we just be, you know, maybe just getting the look for less? I mean, for me personally, I have never intentionally bought a fake bag. I've bought, I'm more into contemporary brands. I'm more into maybe things that are more of a dupe I would buy. Like, I really like, for example, the Bottega pouch. Maybe I would buy like a dupe of that, like something
similar,
like a clutch style, a pillowy clutch. But I don't know if I would get, like, for example, a Chanel flap, like a replica Chanel bag with the CC logo on it. I just don't know if I would do that. But like, yeah, because, well, I guess for us, we already have the real thing. But I mean, going into the luxury market at this point, if we had no luxury bags, would you go to the boutique and spend, you know, I don't know, $15,000 on a jumbo? Like,
it's insane. I mean, well, first of all, everything Jessie and I say in this video is for entertainment purposes only, just our opinion, you guys. Everything's alleged, right?
Yes.
So there's that. Just to be very clear, and everybody's entitled to their own opinion. I personally, when I, and this happens to you too, remember we're talking about this because when you watch, like, on YouTube, so I'm looking at your chats, you guys, but whenever a new person starts a YouTube channel and they're into luxury and they're just beginning their journey and, you know, like, just like they're buying their first Chanel bag, right? And I'm like, oh my gosh, Jess, how is it? Could you imagine if we were starting just now? It would be tragic. Yeah,
because you have no perspective of, like, what has happened to the last, like, even for me, I only started collecting maybe 5 or so years ago, but after exploring vintage, I can notice such a difference in the last 10 years of how it's changed.
But the prices also are insane. So who's going to buy their first Chanel bag today? For that one bag, they're going to have to spend the amount of money that I spent to buy 3 or 4 Chanel bags.
Absolutely. In one hit, how are you going to do it? I almost vomited when I bought my Gabrielle bag, and that was
Years ago.
and that was only a few years ago. And now that is probably that was half the price of the retail of the 22 bag.
Yeah.
You know, and that's a trash bag. So what are we doing? Like, it's just, and if I now, like when I started my luxury journey, one of my first pieces was the mini pochette from Louis Vuitton, which was like
this big.
400, just I think it was just $400. Now, I went into the boutique yesterday, and
we went together.
They were like, okay, we have something very special here. And they took out the mini pochette for me, and it's $1,050 now for this little canvas pochette.
You guys, I lived. So yesterday, because we just had the premiere of my movie with Vivienne Westwood and Patrick John Thomas, and we had Art Lovers Unite, and then we partied after that, and Jessie lost her voice a little bit. So yesterday, it was like we were all a little bit, hungover, and we were walking through Louis Vuitton, and then they offer her this mini pochette, and I love how Jessie was like, "Oh no, thank you. I've had 7 of them." In all colors. Like, why? She would literally turn to me. She's like, Jacob, why? Why so much money? I literally went through them like through Kleenex. It's enough already. I lived. I wish we had a camera to film in that moment.
I was
epic. Epic.
I just lost it.
Literally, she lost it. I was like, yes, queen. She's like, she literally had a disgusted face. She's like, this little piece of canvas. No, no. And I'm like still trying to talk to the sales associate. I'm like, hey, Jess, would you like to see the pochette kirigami? And she's like, no, we're done here. No, thank you. No, we're done. Thank you. Goodbye.
But I actually loved the micro pochette Matisse, guys, but I couldn't deal with the pricing because the micro pochette Matisse,
it's cute.
I used to actually have the pochette Matisse.
Yeah, the big one. You had the normal one.
I remember I bought it for $2,500.
Australian.
In 2018. And that little micro, the price now is $2,750, which is more than what I paid for the pochette Matisse only a few years ago. So I just can't do, I don't get it, guys. Like, what is happening? Like, why has it gone up so, like, I cannot. And then there was glazing, like the glue, the little flimsy like, I'm just like, what? I can't. Anyway, I just
you lost it.
Like, I don't know. Like, I am very easy to buy things. Like, I get sucked into things very easily. But even, like, having this perspective, I cannot imagine going to Louis Vuitton now and being like, oh, I have to pay $2,700 for this bag. Like, it's crazy.
I know. And this is why, and this is one of the big reasons. If we put aside the whole conversation about counterfeit goods funding, people say like terrorism and this and that, and labor, uncontrolled labor, kids working, put all that terrible moral issue aside, and hypothetically speaking, if we were living in this world where that type of problematic labor and sourcing of raw goods was not happening, hypothetically only, even still, the issue remains the person who is starting to buy luxury goods for the first time now, and I've seen this again with new luxury YouTube channels popping up where people are like so excited to get their first bags. I'm like, How? I would not hold it against a person at this point to say, well, yeah, I really want this bag, but like these luxury brands, they're just not accessible anymore. And so I'm going to buy a counterfeit. They would do. And would I hold it against them? Morally, yes, I would hold it against them because obviously stealing somebody's design is not cool.
Yeah.
But then vice versa, we have more and more smaller designers and artists calling out these luxury brands for having stolen their ideas.
Absolutely. There's that problem as well.
I just made a video on my channel a couple of months ago about that chick designer who designed that, you guys, that LV turning lock. What's it called, Jess?
Oh, the twist.
The twist lock. She apparently designed it allegedly like in the 80s or something. And then like Louis allegedly paid her for, I don't know, a certain run of time in which they can use it. And if they used it after that time, they would have to pay her royalties. They never did.
Yeah.
So she sued, and now they came to some sort of agreement. There's a whole video about that. But anyway, I'm like, so that's an example. Or for example, if we're not doing luxury, Zara stealing allegedly ideas from smaller designers, and then they're calling them out, and then Zara coming back and saying, you don't have the money to get the lawyer to battle us.
Same with Boohoo or Shein. They are always stealing. Yeah. So what do you do?
Yeah.
What's right? Well, when you do these, like, you can't win either way. If you buy luxury, you're not. It's not like you're saving the world here. It's not.
No,
like,
you're not saving the world.
We're not doing, like, you buy fake. You're also, it's not a good thing probably. I mean, what we could be doing is maybe supporting more locally made designers, like newer and up and coming designers.
Yeah.
But I think it comes down to more people finding out about them and discovering them, maybe. I don't know. I just don't know anymore. But at the same time, I still get sucked into these luxury brands because I just get sucked into the fantasy, and I just don't want that fantasy to die. So to me, fake bags don't go in with that fantasy that I've created in my head.
Exactly.
It just doesn't give me the same feeling.
But how far have we been brainwashed by that?
Probably a lot. But I think I'm someone who really likes to dream, and I'm always daydreaming and imagining and kind of almost in my own fairyland. So maybe I like to stay there. Like, sometimes I don't want to know.
Podlings.
Yeah, we're podlings.
Yeah, total podlings.
But
I'm the same, you guys. It's the dream. And I always say when I go to Chanel to buy something, it's like
a fantasy world.
It's my Disneyland. I don't go to Disneyland. I go to Chanel, and I want that experience. But the last string that keeps me going back to Louis or to Chanel is what I thought, was quality. But now it's not anymore.
I mean,
my 22 bag was a scandal. Thank God they gave me the money back. I brought my bag back, you guys. It was like peeling after 20 minutes of using it. The top coat was peeling.
It's just sad.
And I'm like, well then paying like $5,000+ for that? No.
Yeah.
No, then I'm like, no, the dream is gone. The dream is dead.
The fantasy is...
That fantasy that we're talking about, luxury, what Jessie was talking about, like you're paying also for that fantasy and that dream. Well, even that is gone because the quality is no longer there.
It just doesn't make any sense. You realize it's a lie.
Right. So what do we do? Like,
I don't know
I feel really lost and confused.
Yeah, I don't know. I like exploring vintage and pre-loved, but at the same time, I'm finding that even harder to navigate, as I said before, because of all these super fakes. Yeah. It's really scary. So what do we do? Yeah,
because it's not like they're selling you. It's not like the resellers are usually honest. It's not like they're honest and they tell you this is a super fake. Also because it's illegal to sell one. But like they're tricking you into saying this is a great vintage bag, and then you buy the really high price because vintage is also expensive when it comes to Chanel or Hermes, and then you end up with a fake bag. And I'm like, that's also no solution. I mean, I love the fact that we could go vintage, but it's so scary because we also see more and more all of these famous high-profiled reseller portals that are supposed to have really high reputations selling fakes.
Yeah. I mean, don't get me wrong, there are so many legitimate bags on the market as well. I mean, the world is flooded with designer bags at this point. Yeah. But, there is always a risk and it gets scary. I mean, for me, I think I buy mainly secondhand because, I mean, I'm really into Hermes bags at the moment and it's just impossible to get anything you really want. So you'd have to, for me, I find it a lot easier to get a vintage piece. And I think has a bit more of a charm to it as well. And same with Chanel, actually. I've discovered that it has a little bit more of a charm to it and a life. So I kind of get a bit of a kick out of that. Yeah. But there is something nice about buying something new from the boutique, and
I'm just looking into the chats. Can we just scroll a little bit up? Kev says, but you have to ask yourself, when you're buying luxury, if you are buying the product or the brand. It's different for everyone, but when you're trying to buy into the brand, a fake would never satisfy.
Yeah, that's true.
The psychology and marketing is just important. I agree.
Yeah. Yeah, that's right. That's right. And maybe are we dumb for falling for the marketing?
We're falling for the marketing.
Yeah.
We're still falling for the marketing, I believe, because it's still telling us that, listen, Chanel is really good at narrating stories. when they release the 22, you can like or dislike the story that they're telling you, but they hired these high-profile models, Johnny Depp's daughter, that other actress from the Tarantino movie.
Yeah, but I didn't fall for that. I didn't really like it.
But they're living their dream. They're dreaming in the desert with their 22 backpack and their 22 bag. One chick is using it as a pillow. The other one is running through New York from party to party.
Near the pool.
And they're living their life. And Chanel keeps pushing stories and keeps pushing this fantasy.
But could you relate to that?
No, I could not relate to their stories, but I related to the fantasy. Like, okay, so Chanel is really good at marketing. Why? Because, and here's the trick, I believe, just my opinion only, is that they don't want you to want to relive the same stuff that their actresses and models are living when they're promoting the 22 bag. They want to tell you through their story that these actresses are also dreaming something up. That's the true story. They're dreaming up this fairy tale world for themselves. And that's where Chanel gets you. Indirectly, they make you also think, what would your fairy tale story be? But you can get that fairy tale story if you buy this bag. That's the point.
Yeah.
And that's why they also showed 3 or 4 different storylines for the bag with different actresses and models. And they're very clever how they do their marketing. Diabolical, really, because they're very, very, very manipulative. Yeah, they manipulate us.
It's like a bad boyfriend.
Oh, yeah, completely bad boyfriend. A toxic relationship.
Yeah. So would you say we have a toxic relationship with Chanel?
KDF says Mini Pochette is out of control.
I know, it is.
I've had 7 of them. Oh, she's quoting you now, yeah. So Debbie's laughing. I started with Pochette Accessoire Ben Prince, says Jason. So wait, what was the question?
Oh, do you think, what was my question?
Yeah.
Do you think we have a bad relationship with Chanel then?
Yeah, with all of them. Also with Hermes.
Yeah, Hermes is a very toxic relationship.
Very toxic. At least the products are good quality.
Yeah, well, I think the products can last a lifetime, so that's a difference. They won't fail on you.
They won't fail on you, yeah. But yeah, it's a toxic relationship. Mine and Chanel's is dysfunctional, to say the least.
I think with Hermes, you can take the power back, though. Like, you can buy vintage if you choose to.
People are buying vintage bags from reputable sellers on eBay and whatnot, and they do authentication as well. Says your access to the red carpet. This doesn't mean diddly squat. What does it mean if I get a little printed piece of paper from some eBay seller saying like, "Hey, this is authentic"? What am I supposed to do with that piece of paper? That doesn't tell me anything. And honestly, I've also seen some situations where Entropy made mistakes.
Yeah, they do.
So if Entropy makes mistakes, like,
you really need to go. There are very few people in the world who have an eye, like who are real professionals. Like, there are some people who have studied these bags for many, many, many decades, and they know what they can see. But you have to go to these people in real life, and it's how do you do that? You have to travel across the world or something like that.
Yeah, so I'm telling you guys, I mean, at this point...
I mean, when I authenticate my bags, I do multiple checks. Whether it's from, there's many sites you can go to, but I mean, I'm not going to turn this into an authentication video, but there are many different platforms you can go. So I make sure to do a few checks. And with my own experience and I can kind of make my own judgment as well. But to someone who's new to luxury, it can be hard. It can be hard. So
I guess to wrap it up, if you want to wrap it up, I would say I would not judge you anymore.
No, I wouldn't judge someone actually.
In the past, I would have been
in the past, I'd be like, whoa, that is just
a couple of years ago.
Out of here.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, I would have been like, girl, if you're not gonna buy the authentic one, then just don't buy it.
Don't bother. Yeah, I would be the same. Be like, don't bother. But at this point, like, actually, some of the fake bags look really good. So I'm actually like sometimes impressed. I'm like, gosh, like that's actually really good. But I wouldn't personally buy one. I don't support it. Personally,
Neither do I.
I don't think it's right. But each to their own. What can I say? Is it right to buy a real bag either? We don't know at this point. So
yeah. Icon says yes, Chanel is good at marketing. I hated the 22 when it first came out, but now I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
And then Kev says, we're held emotional hostage. We need therapy. LOL. Yeah, Access to the Red Carpet says so true. And Icon says, I don't know how you guys feel, but luxury to me isn't fun anymore. It was so much fun like a couple years ago, and now I feel like it's so oversaturated. And Nadine says, with real luxury, it's about the experience as well as the item you buy. Tyler says, oh my God, just woke up and saw your live. Hope you had an amazing premiere. Thank you so much, Tyler. We did.
Aw. Well, guys, thanks so much for tuning in. Please subscribe to my channel and Jacob's channel, of course. And yeah, I guess I'll see you guys on my next one. Bye.